Was there a point that you just basically surrendered to the Lord?
The minute when I walked in, it was like, whatever it takes.
Okay.
You know, like whatever it takes. And I was ready. I was tired. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired and hurting people I love.
Hi, I'm Connie Cenac, and welcome to Connie's Corner. I'm so glad you could join us today because I have a very special guest here today. Her name is Raley Moore. Raley is the clinical coordinator for Emmanuel Project of Northeast Florida, and we're going to find out more about what they do on behalf of the King and his kingdom in just a minute. But I want to introduce you. So, Raley, thank you for being on our podcast today.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so glad to have you. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Emmanuel Project? What is that?
So Emmanuel Project is a nonprofit. We are a medical mobile unit. So we go all across Northeast Florida, Clay County, Duval, St. John's, Nassau, and Putnam.
Wow. And what do you do?
Our medical director is Dr. Bonnie White. She's a pediatrician. She and I worked together for 11 years in her practice. So right after COVID, healthcare's changed,
yes,
and it's no longer about patient care.
No, it isn't.
So when we're having these new moms coming in, and you have a brand new baby, and you are allowed to have 7 minutes with this parent, and they're scared, thinking they're going to hurt their kid. Are they doing it right? And we just can't provide that kind of care. So we both, I was fortunate enough, I had a friend of mine ask me, I don't know where you are in life, but I'd love for you to be my doctor. I'd love for you to be what you are to Dr. White. Mm-hmm. And so it just worked out. I went and talked to Dr. White and said, I think I'm going to be done. Well, before I know it, Dr. White was in that office and she retired. So she's like, I'm not going to do this without you. We're a team. So she retired. I stayed the following 3 months so she can complete all of her retirement and stuff. So about in February, Valentine's Day of 2022, one of our dads, we took care of his children. They were our patients. The dad was pulling up to Ace Hardware in St. Augustine and saw a man and his wife, his family, two little girls, two children with him. And so our president, CEO, founder, not our CEO, but he's our president and he's our founder, got out and felt the need to go talk to this family. Like, how can I help you? And he said, we're just hungry. One of my children is sick. So Vaughn said, I would like you to trust me. Let me take you home and feed you with my family. Wow. So he called his wife on Valentine's night and said, I'm bringing a family home. So then he called Dr. White, because Dr. White was his pediatrician. Who do I trust to come take care of this family? So she came over, and after he was done, he said, do you miss healthcare? And she's like, I do, because she wasn't done. I wasn't done with healthcare. I got out of healthcare after this. And he said, what if I start a nonprofit medical mobile unit? Would you be willing to do it? And she's like, absolutely, as long as Raley's involved,
Wow.
So, and the father's name was Emmanuel.
Wow.
Yes.
God with us.
Yes, absolutely.
Incredible. What a story. I love that. I'm in healthcare as well. I've been in home health care since 1980. And prior to that, I was a consultant for home health agencies. But I got to tell you, times have changed dramatically, and the things we could do for our patients in the home back then, we actually got paid for it. And now today, we're expected to do more than we had to do then.
Absolutely.
And with less money. But with our company, Welcome Home Care, we are patient care oriented, outcome driven,
patient centered.
And I tell you what, there's not an agency no better than ours. So maybe we need to hook up.
Absolutely.
We need to get together and see how we can work together to help people, because healthcare is a mess. It's completely money driven, and doctors' practices are being taken over by the hospital systems. It is all about the money, and
Absolutely.
it's horrible.
Right.
It is absolutely terrible. If you need health care in this nation, it's bad.
And you are concerned, do I feed my family, pay the bills, or do I need to pay for health care? And
right.
It's can't even financially take care of your family or without dropping something.
We had a friend of ours. He's actually, now I can't tell you who he is, but he was living in Georgia, and he's got a debilitating disease that causes his muscles to, he can't produce muscle anymore. And he had a terrible situation where he went in the hospital, was ICU for 2 days, came back out, and he can't walk. He couldn't get out of bed. He's completely immobile, and he pays $1,000 a month for health insurance, and his insurance will not pay for home care, and they wouldn't pay for the rehab he needed. So I said, look, you come down here. I've got a friend who owns an Airbnb. We'll see if I can get a really good deal for you. You come down here and we'll take care of you. And he said, well, I don't think the insurance will pay for it. I said, don't worry about it. We'll take care of you because you're family, and we're going to get you back on your feet. And he's blown away. He's blown away by the love of God, that we are his clients, actually, and we love him enough to, I said, look, I don't care if we get paid. He said, well, I actually have a friend who has a nonprofit who may help. Well, he said that after we made this commitment. He's come down and he's just blown away by the service he's been getting. It's not service, it's care,
right,
by the people that we have coming into his home, into the house to take care of him every day. I just dropped by to see him on the way into the studio.
Wow.
Yeah, he's just blown away. And the bottom line is, the goal is to lead him to the Lord. He is now more open to the gospel. I gave him a book called Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis, and he's reading it. And I'm just excited that we can use the ministry of our business to help people find the love of God through us. And I'm just excited to hear about your project. I want to see what we can do to work together in the future. And
yes,
we'll talk about that after the show.
Absolutely, and I'm the one you would talk to. So
I'm
perfect.
so excited. This is exciting.
Yes.
But I do want to know about your background. Were you born into a Christian home?
I was. We didn't go to church as a family. We did some, but we didn't go every Wednesday, Sunday. But my mom was a nurse, and my dad worked for the railroad, and I had a sitter that was, at the time, I thought she was too strict and mean and all that, but she loved us kids, and we did church camps, and we went on vacations, and church every Wednesday and every Sunday. So I was raised in a very Christian environment. I grew up, some of my best memories are in church camps. You know, I was back-to-back church camps because my parents worked. So, yes, and I accepted Jesus to my life. I think I was trying to ask my mom about it. I think I was in second grade. But I don't know if I really knew what that meant.
Right.
But I as I got older, I would church camps. We would do it, you know. And I was baptized when I think I was 14. Again,
And you never backslid.
Oh, I backslid. Believe me. That's another part of my story.
I know.
Yeah. So. Married, had a child, great. I was, in 1999, I was going to school to be a fireman because you have to be fire certified.
Do you know I wanted to be a fireman? Imagine me carrying all that stuff.
Yeah, well.
I wanted anything but being a secretary.
Right.
I didn't want to work in an office.
Yep.
So I got a degree in accounting when I couldn't be a fireman,
Right.
and I couldn't be a policeman. I was thinking of any job I could have that I would not have to sit in an office and type.
I've had 3. 3 careers.
Wow.
So I was, you have to be fire certified. I didn't want to run into the burning buildings, but I wanted to do rescue, to be there when at the scene. I was training. I was trained to be a fireman. We had a ladder that went straight up, held by 4 ropes, and it was to. It was the confidence builders and your coworkers is what this was for. So full bunker gear, tank, went up over top. When I got to the top, and it's 4 stories tall, somebody let go of the rope that was holding on one side. So I was at the top, the ladder fell, and so when I fell, I landed on this leg, shattered my femur, broke both my feet, both my arms, both my hips, and was flown to then university, and I was in a wheelchair for about 2.5 years. 12 surgeries later.
Oh my gosh.
So I have confidence in God and gravity, not so much my coworkers these days. So,
I mean, somebody got fired, I hope.
right. Well, and we were in training, and she was an accident. That poor girl, it was a girl. I hate to say that part, and if you can cut that out, that'd be great. Right. And she should not have been holding the rope. I had been holding it for an hour ahead of that, so it was kind of tough, but she probably shouldn't have been holding it. So with that being said, that was in '99. Surgery. My doctors were great, having multiple surgeries. I went into surgery the initial night signing off that they were going to amputate.
Oh my gosh.
So when I woke up and I had my leg, I was so excited. I was so excited that my doctor just got back from 3 weeks vacation also. So that I'm blessed, and I knew I wasn't done. Something had to give. But in between that time, I was part of, my doctors were amazing, but I was part of this new medication, OxyContin.
Oh no.
That came out.
Yeah.
So, and my doctor, who has apologized to this day for putting me in that situation, he didn't know, and I understand that. I understand that. And now there's enough out there for people, and I didn't know it was a thing until the whole Dope 6 shows came out in the series, because it was the same story over and over again. So, was addicted to the OxyContin, went to a rehab, and some say would pick the sickest guy in the room. I did that.
That was you.
Yep. So and there was already issues with my ex-husband, but we was with this guy, took off. My dad diagnosed with cancer, left because I couldn't deal with that, and it was it was all drug related. Had a horrible quite a few years, and then in December 17th of '07, I went to a rehab treatment center down in Tampa, and I was there for 9 months.
Well, good.
Yes,
thank God you got the help you need. If people would just get the help they need, there's nothing to be ashamed of. God loves you no matter what you're going through. He knows what put you in the position you're in, and we need Him to get out of the hole that we've dug for ourselves. Whether somebody else does it to us or we do it to ourselves, we have to ask for help.
But you have to be able to say there's a problem first.
Absolutely. You have to admit, I have a problem.
Right. When I walked in that treatment center, my hands were up. I am willing to do whatever it takes.
I am so happy to hear that.
I didn't want to live like that anymore.
Well, you're a life that's been rescued and restored. And so did something happen in that place that brought you closer to the Lord?
Well, you need to have a higher power. That's part of one of the steps. And I always had a relationship with the Lord. I just didn't listen to Him very much. But He saved me many a times. There were situations that I knew I should not have been in, and it was one of those gut feelings you hear.
The Holy Spirit trying to scream at you and say, "No, don't go there."
Exactly.
I know. I've heard that before.
Yes. Yes.
And man, when He yells at you, you better listen.
Right.
I have.
Yeah.
Well, so was there a point that you just basically surrendered to the Lord?
The minute when I walked in, it was like whatever it takes.
Okay.
Like whatever it takes. And I was ready. I was tired. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and hurting people I loved. So I've always attended church here and there. I will say that I'm not someone that goes every Sunday and every Wednesday, but I am someone that I always want somebody to look at me and go, "She's good people." I try to live by example. Be the person I wish that I had in my life. My parents were great, but just as someone that I could relate to. So all ages I love and get along with great. So I try to be, I want to walk the walk, and people go, "She's real. Her heart's in it." And it is how I try to live.
Well, unfortunately, there's a lot of people that do go to church every time the doors are open. They're not necessarily Christians. They might believe that Jesus is real, but until you surrender your heart to the Lord and make Him Lord of your life, you're still in rebellion against God. You're still on the other side of the fence, Too many people today want to walk on the fence, 1 foot in the kingdom and 1 foot in God's kingdom and 1 foot in this kingdom. One thing I know that is important is that we all need discipleship. We all need a relationship with others who have walked through the valley of the shadow of death. We need people who have walked through and come out on the other side. Because you lead, you say by example. Well, you can't lead people someplace you haven't been.
Right.
You can't go, you can't, or you're not going there, right? And so, well, this is an incredible story, but God has certainly brought you around to a place where you're serving Him by serving other people. And that really is what the walk of a Christian should be, is who are we serving? Ourselves? Or are we serving God? It's one or the other. Right. Are we serving money or God? And like the healthcare field, it's 100% money.
100.
You can't even trust medicine anymore.
Right.
You can't, I'm sorry, but you can't trust doctors anymore. You have to do your own research because they've been trained by the pharmaceutical industry.
Oh, absolutely.
They've been, the universities are all financed by the pharmaceutical companies. The books are all written by doctors who are paid by the pharmaceutical companies, which is all a fraud.
Yep.
It is absolute fraud, and they do more harm than good unless it's trauma, obviously.
Right.
You needed doctors. Right. You needed surgeons who could put Humpty Dumpty back together again.
Right.
Right. And I'm so grateful for that. I know we have doctors who refer their patients to us, but we cannot entrust our lives to anyone other than the great physician. Absolutely. He's Jesus. So when I go to doctors, I say, I want my blood work done. I want to know, I want to know what's going on in my body. And then I'm going to go do my research.
Right.
I just took my husband, and we're going to have to close in just a minute. I took my husband to the doctor. I said, I want all this done. She says, well, what good is it? Are you going to do anything I tell you? I said, I don't know. I'm going to wait to see what the results are.
Right.
I'll listen to what you have to say, but I'm going to go do my... She says, I know.
Right.
It's good to have a doctor that way.
Yes. And you have to advocate for yourself.
Yes. But I want to know more about your business, more about your ministry, what y'all are doing and how you do it, so that we can get together and see if we can just, join up to do even more for the people who desperately need our services.
Right.
But I want to thank you for coming to be a part of my show. I hope we can come back and we'll see what God does.
Beautiful, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, look, I hope you enjoyed this show. We hope you'll come back. So the best way to do that is like and share this, and then subscribe to my channel. Be blessed. Bye.
Bye.